Okay, right then. So as I mentioned, nice and tall to begin with, feet hip distance apart. Okay, knees are going to be soft and just bring your awareness to your pelvis. Let's just loosen that pelvis off by doing a few tilts. So tuck your tailbone underneath and then release away, and then tuck underneath and release. And you should just feel that forwards backwards motion of your pelvis. And we're really trying to isolate that movement just to the pelvis, so the rib cage stays soft, legs stay soft, shoulders are soft, and all that movement just comes right from here. Nice just to loosen off. And then just find that midpoint between those two tilts and just rest the pelvis there. Bring your hands onto your waist and just allow your fingertips just to slide inwards, just below your belly button. And take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to get that pelvic floor going. So gents, you're just going to lift up. Sorry if this causes anyone any offence, but gents, it's nuts to guts, come straight up, and ladies, it's back passage to front passage, so more of a forward scoop. And as you hold that, you should feel a gentle tightening across the front of your pelvis, really gentle. Keep breathing nice and deeply, and then just relax, and then again, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let's do one more of those pelvic floor contractions. Always good to feedback in on a pelvic floor. Some of us need it more than others. I definitely need to work on mine. Okay, and relax there. All right, let's get moving. So just relax the shoulders down, and we're going to take this into a head stretch. So just let your head relax down to one side, nice and heavy. And we're just going to pause a little bit longer than we usually do so that we can breathe. And really create that sense of heaviness through those shoulders, and you should feel that neck open up a little bit more. Okay, back to the centre, and we're going up and over to the opposite side. Nice and heavy, drop that ear down towards your shoulder. Opening up through the opposite side. Good, so let's do one more on each side. Really just a chance to slow down before we work a little bit harder on the mat. Good, back to the centre, final side. And then stack back up nice and tall. So think of all those little bones in your neck. Create a little bit of a gap through each of those bones. So you're growing up towards the ceiling. We're going to breathe in. As we breathe in, draw those shoulders up. And then I want you to sigh that breath out and just drop those shoulders away. So a nice deep breath in. So you're just letting any tension go through your shoulders, but also through your breath. And one more breath in. Lovely, and we've dropped those shoulders down now. Let's set them down, and we're going to move through the body, coming up to tiptoes, hands up to shoulder height, and back down again. Breathe in as we float up, and out as we come down. Really working hard to keep those shoulders set into your back pockets. So you should feel a little bit of tension between your shoulder blades, and we're going to have a little bit of a play around with those muscles around the back of the shoulders, and try and open up those shoulders a little bit as well. Two more. And one more. Keep the hands where they are, but just drop those heels down. So we're going to come into our chicken wings exercise. So I want you to bend the elbows, but keep the hands at shoulder height. Draw those shoulders even further back down into your back pockets now. Squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades. Keep the elbows where they are, and we're going to bring the hands up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Shoulders down, reach up and overhead. Draw your tummy towards your spine as you do that. Lovely. Then back down to that 90 degree at the shoulders and elbows. Hands come out in front of the arms, and we push forwards. Lovely. And repeat. So draw those shoulders back. Squeeze that pencil between your shoulder blades. Stop the traffic as the hands come forwards. Draw those shoulders down as you float your hands up. Back down, elbows, stop the traffic. Good. Hands down and forwards. Let's go a little bit more flowing with that movement now. I want you to work on drawing your tummy towards your spine and stopping your rib cage from flaring forward. So imagine two spring coils that are tightening your rib cage down towards your waist. So it should feel like you're working quite hard to do this movement. We're isolating the movement to the shoulders, and we're keeping those trunks nice and steady. Shoulders should be quite warm now. If you want to make it a little bit harder, we can raise up onto tiptoes. Hold that raise. get those calves working. Lovely. And we're going to visit this a couple of times this evening, just in different positions, just to really get those shoulders nice and loose. Really work on a nice long neck, so just make sure those shoulders don't creep up towards those ears, down to those back pockets with your shoulder blades. Okay, let's make this our final one. Well done, guys. I can see those brains working really hard with this as well. Super. And then we're going to lower those heels down, lower those arms down, and they should feel like they need a little bit of a shake after that. Okay, so we're going to step a bit wider and have a lovely stretch through the side of the body now. So I just want you to reach up with one hand. Lovely. Then come down and reach up with the other hand. And just almost like a windmill opening out through the sides of the body. Just do what feels good for you. Don't worry too much about control or technique. Just loosen off. And make sure you're breathing. As always, those lovely long deep breaths will help us move a bit further. I'm already feeling everything loose enough. The sides of the bodies are opening and I can reach further down. Lovely. Let's do a few more because I'm liking these. Okay, and then we're going to get these legs involved a little bit more. So we're going to come down into our little squat, okay? Knees pointing to the corners of the room. So you can see how I open out my knees using those muscles in my bottom. I'm tucking my tailbone underneath. I'm just going to just gently prop myself on one leg and I'm going to reach up and over. I'm not being really heavy into that leg, so I'm pushing away from that leg, drawing that shoulder down and away from my ear. And I'm just going to look to the underside of that arm. And breathe. We're just going to pause and hold this now. Nice mermaid stretch to open up the sides of the body. Okay, come back and we're going to go up and over to the opposite side. And looking under that shoulder if you want to. Super. And again, we'll visit our mermaid stretch back on the mat. So come back to the centre, come back to stand, and let's just bring our feet hip distance apart. And then I want you to cross one leg over the other. It doesn't matter which one because we're going to do both legs. And we're going to work into our roll downs, but we'll challenge our balance a little bit more now. So nice and tall to begin with. I can see some wobbles already. It's looking good. Okay, and then we're going to peel down through the spine. Now take it slow because we've not done much kind of back line opening. So roll down as if you're peeling away from the wall. You want every segment of your spine to move on its own. And as you come down, you'll start to feel a little bit more weight going into the front leg. You feel that leg open up a little bit, and then let's just hang there for a minute. Well, not a minute, a moment, sorry. We've got half an hour, we can't afford to hang here for a minute. Okay, and now you've hung there for a second or so, just see if you can go a little bit deeper, but only if your body feels like it wants to. And then we're going to stack back up to stand. And remember, we're building through all of those bones in the spine, so one on top of the other, segment by segment. Brilliant. And let's cross over, so opposite legs now. So just take a minute just to uncross and then recross. And let's try that on the other side. So peeling down through the spine, just really take your time, working through every bone in the spine, one at a time. Just notice any areas that feel a little bit stiff. And then hang there when you get to your end point. And then once you're kind of hung out there for a breath or two, see if you can go a little bit deeper. And then stack back up to stand. And then we'll just do one normal roll down and that will bring us down onto the mat. So just bring your feet hip distance apart and hopefully you'll feel really good with this one. So rolling down through the spine. Imagine a piece of wallpaper and you're just really satisfied to peel that off the wall. That's for you, Nat. Natalie's doing a lot of wallpaper stripping at the moment. So there's your cue. Roll down and then just hang out there for a minute. I'm just going to adjust my camera and we'll come down onto our mat. Okay, so bend your knees and bring yourself down into your box position. Now, any issues with the wrists, you can just kind of walk your wrists a little bit further forwards. Otherwise, we have our hands beneath our shoulders. and our knees beneath our hips. Okay, and we're going to come into a little bit of a swishing movement from side to side. So imagine you've got a tail and you're a dog, and you're just kind of swishing your tail from side to side. So your hips are going over from side to side, and you're sort of shortening the side of your pelvis up towards your rib cage, and then repeating that on the other side. Just a nice way of just loosening off at the pelvis. And again, a good one to do at home, maybe not in a class full of people if you feel a little bit conscious about wiggling your bottom in front of somebody else. So this is a good one to do in your living room or your bedroom, wherever you are, and it feels wonderful. So once you've done with swishing that tail, let's come back to our neutral position, and let's just check in on our focus points. So we're going to move on to some strength work here. So you've got a mirror between your hands, and you're just looking at that mirror and creating length through the back of the neck. You're going to slide those shoulder blades down into your back pockets, and you're going to lengthen through your tailbone. And then from here, we're going to float one foot along the back of your mat. Now imagine you've got a tray of Maltesers on your back, so don't spill your Maltesers. What will happen as you lengthen away is you want to tip over to the opposite side, so keep those Maltesers nice and level. Now we can stay here, or we can float the foot up to hip height. Now as we go up, make sure your back doesn't arch and dip down. So lengthen through the tailbone as the foot floats up, super slow, and then touch back down, fold that leg back in, and repeat that with the opposite side. Really think about that tray of Maltesers. Do not spill a Malteser. They will be worth eating after your class. Floating up if you want to, or you can stay with your foot on the mat and touch back down. I really want you to think about control with this movement. Honestly, you can really work everything nice and hard if you've got that good amount of control. So keep swapping from side to side, but take it super slow. Think about those Maltesers. I'm going to come and have a little look at you. And if you don't like Maltesers, think about a tray of marbles or a glass of wine on the small of your back. Good stuff. Okay. Very nice. Right, I want you to all stretch your right foot behind you. Okay, so we're all working on that right leg. Now, level 1, the foot can stay on the floor. Level 2, the foot is lifted, okay? Level 1, guys, I want you to swipe your leg across to the side, but keep your spine nice and long. So no swishing of the tails now. So we know what that swishing looks like. We want to keep that waist nice and long as your leg comes out to the side, and then we draw it back in again. Level 2, guys, exactly the same, but your leg is floating up in the air. So you've got a coffee table, and you're just sliding your leg along that coffee table. Or you should feel it in the outside of your bottom and back in again. Repeat that on the same leg. We're going to do about 6 to 8 times, super slow, and then we'll swap over. So just remember, we're not going to swish our tails to bring our legs out to the side. We're going to keep our spine and our pelvis nice and level. Don't let your pelvis collapse up to your rib cage. Option 1, foot on the floor. Option 2, lifted. Don't forget the top half. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Gently press through the heels of the hands, keep the shoulders down. I think that's about 6 for me. So once you've done your 6, touch down, come back to box position and repeat, but then on the opposite side. So the foot could be down, swiping out, or the foot could be lifted. Keep the tailbone nice and long. Imagine a magnet attached to your tailbone, drawing you to the opposite side of the room. Ooh, and if your wrists get tired at any point, you can just sit back in your shelf stretch, give them a little bit of a wriggle from side to side, and then join back in. So we're going to do 2 rounds of these, so 6 to 8 on each leg, okay? So you should be sort of maybe coming up to your 2nd round now. Take these nice and slow. We're going to have a little look at how we're doing. Nice. Yeah, give those wrists a good shake if you need to. Remember, you can make a fist and bear weight through your knuckles. Yeah, you can give me a little punch. Remember, super slow. Looking good, guys. I'm going to join you for that final side. So much to think about with these, and they do get that nice burn going. Okay, and once you've finished that 2nd side, you can just hang out in your shelf stretch. I'm sure we'll all match up at some point. I'm going to do 3 more. I'm going to do them super slow because I want those hips to work this evening. Okay, and then let's all join in, finishing off your last one wherever you are, and just sit back for a second. Just to give you a chance just to offload those wrists if you need to. Still got a little bit of 4-point kneeling work, and I promised we were going to do some mobility flow this evening. So we're going to work through our cat-cow stretch. So just let your tummy drop down towards the mat and let your breastbone lift forwards, and you're glancing upwards if you can. And then we're going to tuck through the tailbone, tummy towards the spine, and arch through the back into your cat stretch. And then just move between those two positions. But just as we did with our roll down, I want you to think about all of those bones in your spine. Can you get them all arched, all curled underneath, no stiff segments? Really let all of them work to arch through in both directions. Let's do one more on each side. Make sure you're breathing with a little bit more strength coming up. So enjoy this little flow of movement. Okay, and then find your neutral and keep your neutral there. We're going to work into these triceps now, so these muscles through the back of the upper arm. So I'm going to show you a couple of levels, okay? Tricep press. You're going to bring your hands a touch closer together than underneath your shoulders, okay? So bring your hands closer. And then you want to bend at the elbows. Keep the elbows tucked in. Send them to the backs of the room. Remember those chicken wings? We don't want chicken wings now. We want those elbows nice and narrow. And you're lowering your forearms down towards the mat. Don't let your bottom stick up towards the ceiling. Keep your tailbone tucked underneath. Lower down and then push back up. So this is your level 1. You're closing your elbows into your box. Chest comes down towards the mat, and your heart is behind your wrists, okay? Level 1 works those triceps really hard. But if you want to work into level 2, your heart comes in front of your wrists now. We still tuck down through the tailbone, and then we lower down. So we've got a little bit more weight. You can lift the feet off the mat if you want, and take your weight even further forwards. Push through the heels of your hands to bring yourselves away from the mat. We've got 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. We are going to do a cheeky hold at the end. Make sure your elbows are tucked in towards your ribs. Go to where you can and hold. And tucked underneath, no bums in the air. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push up. Hopefully you didn't face plant down into the mat and just sit back for a minute. Oh, good work. We have got our central heating really cranked up this evening. I am really warm. Okay, coming onto your tummies, and let's just work into a little bit of a plank just to get those tummies working. So rest on your forearms, okay? Elbows beneath shoulders. We're going to slide those shoulder blades down away from your ears. You're going to tuck your toes underneath, and just start to think about tucking your tailbone away. And as you do that, you should feel your tummy lift off your mat. Now this may be where you want to hang out. You might feel a lot of work here. If you want to work a little bit harder, continue to lift through the back of the hips, okay? So you're creating a line through the body, the knees are down, and just really work to hollow the chest away from the mat. Shoulders are down, neck is nice and long. We're just doing one of these, so we're just going to hang out here for as long as we feel able to. Really push through the arms, really be strong through the shoulders. Tuck that tailbone underneath as much as you can, and you'll really feel that tummy work. Any of you who want to just finish off, you can lift the knees. Just extend the knees, and they should lift away from the mat. Tense those upper thigh muscles. And we're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming down, and we're going to go straight into our cobra stretch. So you can come to baby cobra or full cobra. Just remember, we're peeling away from the mat, looking forwards or looking up on the hands or on the forearms, and that should feel really nice just to stretch all those tummy muscles out from that first plank that we've just done. Okay, we can't hang here for too much longer, so just smoothing yourself back down to the mat. And then bring yourself to sit. Okay, we're going to sit in our sort of windswept position. So you've got both of your feet going to one side. We'll do both sides, it doesn't matter which one, okay? So you've got one leg out in front with a knee bent and one leg behind. We're all there, lovely. So you're going to take your hand over to the opposite side of your foot, rest it on the mat, and we're going to come into our mermaid stretch. I promised you stretches, so let's do some stretches. Good, okay, just make sure that shoulder's not collapsing down into the ear. If you want to, you can come down onto your forearm just to get a little bit more through that stretch. It's up to you. Okay, let's do a counter stretch. So we're going to come up and over. We're going to place the hands on the same side as the feet and reach up towards the ceiling. Imagine you've got magnets on your fingertips and they're drawing you up to the ceiling. You should feel that lovely stretch on the underside of the body now. Good. Back over to that first side. Now you can do exactly the same stretch, or if you want to, you can lengthen out the top leg and pull your foot away from your feet. Lengthen through that side of the body. Nice and long, gorgeous, and then come back forwards. Okay, now I want you to take the hand that's not on the side of the feet and place it behind you. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start to draw a nice big circle with the other arm. Okay, now this may be where you stay, just working on that shoulder mobility. But if you want to open up the hips a little bit more and work a bit more on shoulder strength, as the arm scoops up, you're going to push up and lift your pelvis off the mat. And as the arm scoops around and lowers, you just drop your hips down, okay? Now, so long as your shoulder's up for that, it's a really nice way of introducing a little bit of strength through the body as you open up through the fronts of the hips. Okay, but if your hips just aren't up to that, that's fine. Also, if you find this position a little bit difficult on your hips, you can bring your back leg a little bit further forwards. Doesn't need to be quite so open. Let's do two more. Nice big breaths with these. Lovely, and one more. Beautiful. Okay, straight round to the opposite side. We're going to reverse that sequence now. So windswept legs over the opposite side, hand behind, and to begin with, just nice big circles with that opposite arm. Join in when you're ready, guys. Sorry, I swung you around really quickly there. Didn't give you much time to pause. Okay, remember your back leg can be a bit further forwards if you just don't like that position. And then if you want to add that lift, you can do as you open up through the arms, push through the hips. You're kind of like thrusting your hips forward, so give your bottom a squeeze as well whilst you're there. Good. Four more. Two. And one. Lovely. Drop back down again, okay? We're going to go through our full mermaid stretch, so hands on the opposite side of the feet. Stretch that top leg away and reach up and over. Lovely, just pause for a minute. Chance to get your breath back, come back to the centre, bend that top leg, okay? And then we're just going to do our mini mermaid, but see if you can push a little bit deeper into it. Good. And then we're going to counter that stretch by coming up and over, hands on the side of your feet this time, and reach up towards the ceiling, stretching the whole of the side of that body. I don't know about you, but that feels great for me. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Okay, and then come back. Let's just bring those legs forwards and give those knees a little bit of a hug. Okay, so to finish, I promised we would visit those chicken wings again, and we're going to visit them back on the mat. And we're going to combine it with a little bit of a bridge sequence. So we'll start with our bridge so that we're strengthening the back line of the body, and then we'll open up the shoulders with our chicken wings. So come to lie on your backs, ideally without a pillow if you're happy to lie flat. Feet hip distance apart, and let's just remind ourselves what our bridge looks like. So it's a good time to visit that mobility of the spine. We've worked a lot through opening up every segment in the back, so now let's test it a little bit. So you're gently pressing the small of your spine into the mat, and you should feel your tailbone lift. As your tailbone lifts, continue to peel away, one segment at a time. We're going up, okay? Hips are lifted. Make sure you're not collapsing into your shoulders. Bring your knees over the long part of the arches of your feet. And then smooth your spine back down onto the mat. Good stuff. And again, peel away, peel through every bone in your spine. Make it count, make that mobility count. Try not to let your rib cage lift up. Keep the rib cage connected down towards the waist, and then smooth your spine back down again. Okay, you could stick with this, but if you want to come with me, make sure you've got some room up and overhead. We're going to peel up come up into your bridge, reach your hands up towards the ceiling and then let them reach up and over to the top of your mat. Don't let your rib cage lift up. Keep your hands overhead and then lower down through your bridge. Feels really lovely just to stretch through the top of the body. Once your hips are back down, bring your hands back down by your side and then just repeat, peeling up. Peel, 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 peel. Hips are lifted. We reach up with the hands. We take them up and over. Oh, that feels good. And then we smooth back down through the spine. 2 more of these before we just add a little bit more of a challenge for our brains. Okay. Remember, you don't have to lift up through the hands if you just want to focus on your bridge. And if at any point you need a rest, just hug your knees towards your chest. Okay, final one with that lovely overhead reach. Just really feels nice to stretch through the undersides of the shoulders. Okay, next bridge, we are going to hold this one and then we've got our chicken wings. So the hands are going to come up. Hands come up to shoulder height. Bend the elbows now and place the backs of the forearm on the mat. Once they're down, you're going to reach your hands back towards the top of your head, okay? And then you're going to stretch your hands up to the top of the mat. You're going to bend your elbows back to that stop position. Hands come up and we reach up towards the ceiling. Now you can come out of your bridge, reset your bridge and go again, or you can keep your bridge lifted. So I'm just going to talk you through those hands again. We bend the elbows, the hands reach up to the top of the mat, we stretch the arms up, we bend the elbows, hands rotate up and we reach back up to the ceiling. I'm just going to turn and face and show you what that chicken wings look like. So the hands are at shoulder height, we bend the elbows, we rotate the shoulders and then we stretch up to the ceiling. Bend the elbows, rotate the arms and reach forwards again. Keep it going. You're looking good. Whatever you're doing, I don't really mind, but you should really feel it's quite hard to get the backs of the hands on the mat, particularly without arching and compromising the position of the shoulder. Now remember, you can come out of that bridge in between or you can hold that bridge. If you want to work those hamstrings and glutes, hold that bridge a little bit longer. I'm going to join back in and do 2 more rounds with those chicken wings, okay? So we are coming towards the end of tonight's session, so let's just work ourselves a little bit harder before we have a nice rest. If you are maintaining that bridge, can you just squeeze your bottom a little bit harder, lift those hips. Okay, final one, and then just smooth your spine down towards the mat and hug your knees towards your chest. Okay team, our final challenge for this evening is we're going to work the control and stability of the pelvis. So imagine you've got a spirit level resting across the bones of your pelvis and you want to keep that bubble in the centre of your spirit level. Smooth your spine up in towards your bridge. Okay, level 1, keeping your spirit level centre. You're going to lift one heel off the mat and then lower it down and then lift the other heel. So we're kind of coming into our walking pattern, but just on the mat, okay? There's your level 1. Now, if you can do that pretty comfortably and your spirit level is nice and steady, we're going to take that into a leg stretch. So without dipping the pelvis, see if you can lengthen 1 foot away, stretch through the leg, touch down, replace and repeat with the opposite side. So it doesn't really matter what's going on with your legs. What matters is what's going on with your pelvis. So alternating from side to side. You can tap out when you're ready. Hug your knees towards your chest and repeat. This is our final exercise this evening before we just finish off with a little bit more mobility. So just keep working from side to side. Remember, don't let your bridge collapse into your shoulders. Make sure your knees are stacked over your feet. And we're keeping going here, guys. We've got 10, 9, 8, a little bit higher, 7, 6, I'm coming to see you, 5, 4, 3, 2, I can just see feet flying up in the air, and 1, lovely, smooth back down towards your mat. hug your knees and enjoy that lovely stretch as you rock from side to side or circle the knees or whatever it takes just to take any pressure out the small of your back. Okay, I want you to hug your right knee towards your chest and lengthen your left leg along the mat, and you should feel that stretch out through that hip flexor on the left side. Hug, 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 breathe. Pull your toes towards your shins and feel that length through the back of the legs now, particularly on that left side. Okay, point the toes and then just swap sides. So just gently bring your left knee in, release your right leg, left knee towards the chest and stretch that right leg away. Really be active with those legs. So can you push the back of your right leg into the mat? You should feel the front of the leg open up. Toes up towards your shins or up towards the ceiling. Beautiful, then relax those toes away. Feet on the mat now, feet together, knees together, pin them together, reach towards your sides and just take that into a lovely twist. Stack your feet and knees on top of one another and just let gravity allow your knees to sink down towards the mat. Back to the centre, up and over, opposite side. One more on each side, or of course you can do as many as you want because this is your wind down now. So if you want to hang out here a little bit longer, feel free to do so. But when you're ready, we'll sign out for this evening. Thank you ever so much, everybody. And for those of you that are joining me up until Christmas,